It's Tuesday at 12, and this must be Aperture and Shutter Speed, the photography radio show where you can learn and share your love for photography. I am your host, Chelsea Williams. I'm a professional portrait photographer in Conroe. If you have any questions or comments during the show, just go to our Aperture and Shutter Speed Facebook page and post your comments there. Today, I'm going to be talking to Steve Kozak, who is the president of Texas Professional Photographers Association. We're going to talk to him over the phone in a little bit, and he's going to tell us all about PhotoGenesis that's coming up the end of September. So, you want to stay tuned and listen for that, because that's going to be great. Before that, I want to talk about some events and things that you can do to get involved locally and learn a little bit about photography, or just make some photography friends. The Woodlands Camera Club on August 28th is doing their special interest group, learning your photo equipment. And even though, it's learning your photo equipment, they do something different each time. It's from 2 to 4 on the 28th. And you can go to the woodlandscameraclub.org to find out more information about that. There's a free PPA webinar coming up. And this one actually looks pretty cool. It's on August 25th, and it's at 1 p.m., and it's blogging for photographers, WordPress tips and tricks to improve SEO. So I know sometimes photographers, we're not real great with words and writing because we like to use our camera. So that might be a good one. It is free for all PPA members. Just go to ppa.com. So I've discovered a few new meetup groups. So I was looking into it, and there's one that's the North American Nature Photography Association has a meetup group in Houston. And you don't have to be a member of the association to be a member of the meetup group. So if you're really into nature photography and you're just looking for some friends to go out together and do some new things, and check out their meetup group online, and it's completely free. So that's a good way just to get out there and have some activities to do. It looks like they're pretty active. Also, there's another meetup group that's extremely active. That's HoustonPhotoWalks.com. And the organizer of that is Joe Lapete, I think, is how you pronounce his name. And they have so much stuff going on. And soon they're going to be doing, they're going to be representing Houston. And the Global is sponsored by Red Bull and 500 Pics. It's the Global Photo Walk event on September 17th. And Houston Photo Walks is going to be representing Houston. It's going to be in Herman Park in the evening. So it's a great opportunity for night shots. And they've been doing that for the past 3 years, and they say 50 to 70 people go each time. So that seems kind of crazy. I would love to see how that turns out. And if you want to register for Houston or for your city or anything, you can go to photowalk.500px.com, and it'll show you all the different walks going on around the world. And then when you take your pictures, you go #walkthisway, and you'll be able to see everybody's pictures from around the world that they're taking and posting to that. So it seems pretty cool. And the HoustonPhotoWalks.com is also signing people up for cruise. It's going to be a photography adventure cruise to San Juan, San Martin, and St. Thomas on Celebrity cruise lines. And I love Celebrity, so that seems awesome. They've hired master photographers Dennis and Sherry Hammond to teach some classes. And so what could be better than that? Go on a cruise and learn a little bit about photography. So if you're interested in anything like that, just go to HoustonPhotoWalks.com and get more information. And I want somebody to go to some of these meetups and tell me all about it. I can't fit in everything in my schedule that I want to do, but I want somebody to go and post on Aperture and Shutter Speed Facebook page and tell us everything about it. Okay, so the question I always get to is, what kind of pictures have you been taking lately? And I want to see your pictures. I'd love to see them. So be sure to go to our Facebook page and post them, or just tell us what you've been doing. If you have any funny stories about a photo shoot you did, we'd love to hear it. Personally, I've been getting back into, my business shots, and I've been doing a lot of headshots lately. And that just means I go and set up in conference rooms and do a bunch of employees at one time. My problem is right now I carry way too much stuff with me. I have a tote that everything consolidates into, but it's really bulky, but that's how I get my workout. So my big challenge right now is how to get some of that weight out of my tote. And I know all parents are really happy right now because school started yesterday. Woo! And once again, social media, especially Facebook, exploded with everybody's first day of school pictures. And we love seeing them, right? Even though that they're just snapshots before the kids walk out the door. I love watching the kids' expressions because some of the kids are really excited, and you can see that. And some of the kids, usually the older ones, are like, why are you taking a picture of me? Don't make me do this. But I took a quick snapshot picture of my daughter, and I posted it to Facebook. But we're going to do like an official back to school photo shoot with my daughter. Last week when we had Diana Wagasback on, we were talking about underwater portraits. And after the show, I talked to her a little bit more, and we've decided that I'm going to take Cheyenne over there and get her in her pool. And we're going to have a backpack or some different props, and we're going to do a back-to-school themed underwater shoot with my daughter Cheyenne. I think that'll be so much fun. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to show y'all the finished images on Facebook, because I can't imagine how it's going to turn out, but I'm just really excited to look at it and see everything. So definitely, if y'all have back-to-school pictures, even if they're snapshots, share them with us. Tell us what, grade, because I like the kindergartners. It's cute. So other than, the back to school stuff and I've been doing the headshots, but I think pretty soon it's going to start cooling down, and it's going to get maybe decent outside for some family pictures, and senior pictures should really start probably over the summer, but over the summer it was really hot. So if you haven't started your senior pictures now, this would be a great time to do it. It hadn't maybe started cooling down quite yet, but pretty soon. So maybe start scheduling those sessions. Okay, so we're going to take a little break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk to Steve Kozak, who's the president of TPPA, and he's going to tell us all about PhotoGenesis and all the workshops they're going to be doing. So stay with us. You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed.
Lone Star Community Radio is on FM. That's right. Set your radio dials and your button presets to Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1 coming in June 2016. To celebrate this edition and the addition of video versions of our talk show and music shows on YouTube and cable TV, we are offering special sponsorship rates, which include free audio spots that are played throughout our broadcasts. Interested? Check out our sponsor rates for shows just like this one you're listening to right now online at irlonestar.com/sponsor. Or call the station at 936-647-5747. Reaching the people of Montgomery County with Montgomery County's community radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Chelsea Williams, and I'm here talking to Steve Kozak, who's the president of Texas Professional Photography Association. Welcome, Steve.
Hi, Chelsea. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out to talk to everybody today. For anybody listening, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and just your career as a photographer?
Yeah, I've been a 33-year photographer now. I got into photography because I didn't like typing, and that's actually a true story. When I was attending college at Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches, I was also working part-time at the Parks and Recreation Department. And my job was to put out the Parks and Recreation brochure 4 times a year. And it was an 8-page newspaper-sized tabloid that promoted gymnastics and karate and softball and youth basketball, all the different things that a park and rec does. And I figured out that if I could just put one picture in that tabloid, I could save myself about an hour's worth of typing for every picture I put in there. So I just got interested in taking photographs for the Parks and Recreation Department, and it was interesting because some photographs would turn out and some wouldn't. And I thought, for me to learn a little bit more about this, I'm gonna need to take some classes. So I took a few classes at Stephen F. Austin, and the rest is history. I was hooked from the moment I saw that first black and white print develop in the tray, and just decided, oh my gosh, I've found the love of my life here. And that's how I got started. So I opened up my studio in Nacogdoches sometime later, and stayed there a number of years until I moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So all combined, about 33 years in photography, and as a full-time professional, earning my living solely from photography. So when people say it can't be done, it certainly can. And there are certainly a lot of photographers who do earn their living from photography.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. I love that story because, I had a lot of people tell me when I was going to college, don't get a photography degree, do English or journalism. And I really hated English so much. I was like, I'm just going to get a photography degree. I like it. It's fun. So
yeah, Chelsea, I was the same way. I hated English and I hated literature. And doggone it, when I was maybe about 38 or so, I discovered my love of writing, and I never realized it was within me, and I wished I had paid more attention in those English classes, because to this day I still can't spell, and I still use words incorrectly, but I think the writing goes hand in hand with the photographs,
right.
And especially if you're creating websites and marketing materials and things like that. So I wish I had paid more attention, but yeah, I hated it too.
Yeah, I totally empathize with that. My mom was a school teacher, so she always got on to me about my handwriting and my spelling. But you know what? I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
So in your career as a professional photographer, what led you to get involved with the PPA and TPPA?
I was down in the dungeon in the communications building at Stephen F. Austin, which is where the photography labs were, and there was a bulletin board that had a little lift card in it about something called PPA, Professional Photographers of America, and I thought, that's something that I should do if that's really my dream and that's what I want to pursue. Maybe I should look at joining this association. And so took that little lift card and sent it in with my money and became a member of PPA, basically to become a more not necessarily a qualified photographer, but to become a more legitimate photographer, because
right.
Now I have these credentials behind me, and little did I know, just belonging to an organization is not really enough to get you the credentials that you want. But what I've learned in those 32, 33 years of being a photographer is that these professional associations provide you the tools and the pathways to success that I certainly would not be the photographer that I am today without PPA and without the Texas PPA, the Texas Professional Photographers Association. And both of those really launched my career and kept me on a path that truly guided me to success. I would not be here without them.
Right. And you're right. I've heard that from people before when, I say I'm a member and they're like, well, anybody can be a member, which is true. But if you follow the tools they give you, it does help you improve your skills and who you are. So I think you're right. And, the associations can guide you if you let them.
Yeah. I think, what you need to be a legitimate photographer is to produce legitimate work.
Right.
If your work is being put out there and everybody knows it's bad but you, then you may not be the photographer you really wish to be, because trust me, bad photography, you can't hide bad photography.
No.
And there is a lot of it out there. But with belonging to the associations, I always relate it to belonging to a gym. If you pay that gym membership fee, you're a member of that gym, but it does you absolutely no good if you don't go and utilize the tools that they have in place to mold you into the person you want to be. And that's exactly what the associations do. We have a lot of members who certainly support us, But the thing is, most of our members are extremely active in the events that we put on and the programs that we put in place, and that's what makes them successful. It's not just paying the dues and doing nothing. It's
Right.
paying the dues and getting involved.
I love that analogy, like a gym. It kind of clicks when you say it that way. So for anybody who doesn't really know anything about TPPA, you want to describe it to them and maybe the benefits of being a member and kind of how you would get involved.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to sit on the board of directors of Professional Photographers of America, which is our national association. And then I'm also fortunate to be the president of the Texas Professional Photographers Association. And while we're two completely different organizations, we are affiliated with each other. The Professional Photographers of America certainly depends on its local affiliates to foster its membership goals and ideals, and certainly the state association depends on the national association because of the so many benefits that they provide to the affiliates, such as their merit program and the competition infrastructure that we utilize. And so, I get to see it kind of from several different levels. The state association, which is Texas PPA, has been around for over 100 years, and we serve photographers from across Texas and beyond. We actually have members from, I think, 38 other states, if I'm not mistaken, because we put on a really large week-long school called the Texas School of Professional Photography every year at the end of April. And that school attracts over 1,000 photographers who come in to study for a week with one instructor, and they come from across the country and from all over the world. I think we had 7 countries represented at Texas School this past year. So they're coming a long way to learn photography from the best instructors in the business, and as a result, they become members of Texas PPA. So we have a large body of professional and really non-professional photographers. Anyone that's interested in really becoming a better photographer is well served by joining Texas PPA. And our primary responsibilities are that we put on 4 major educational events a year. Summerfest we just had in Conroe at the La Torreta Resort and Spa back in June.
Which was really wonderful.
Sorry. Yeah, isn't that a great venue too? No,
yeah.
It's a great venue, and it's a great place to have a photographic event. We could talk more about that in a minute too, because it's unique in that it's a very family-friendly photographic event. But the next one that we have coming up is PhotoGenesis in San Marcos. It's September 30th through October 2nd, and it's really geared more towards the photographer. Families, spouses may enjoy just the sights and sounds of San Marcos, but not really the family-friendly event that our Summerfest event is. And then we put on something called the Texas 10, which are 10 workshops that we spread throughout Texas so that the workshops kind of go to our members where our members live. So there will be workshops in Houston and Dallas and East Texas and Austin and so on. And then the crown jewel of our events is our Texas School event at the end of April every year. So that's our primary focus. Our members do enjoy a full-color magazine that's published 6 times a year. Our editor, Bill Hedrick, does a great job in putting our magazine together and featuring stories and how-to articles on improving our photography and marketing and introducing us to other interesting photographers and the craft that they do. And then we do some other things along the way, too. So we're a very active association. We're the largest PPA-affiliated association, and we're over 1,200 members strong and growing.
Well, I think what you said about the magazine is right. There's some really great articles from some master photographers that, if you just go through, you can pick up little things from different people and, look for it each time. And I kind of like looking through it every time I get it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a great venue for our members to have their work published as well. Bill, our editor, is always looking for articles and looking for photographs and the backstories behind photographs. So a lot of our members take advantage of the opportunity to have their work published in the magazine. We send out over 3,000 magazines. Doesn't just go to Texas. It goes to many of the surrounding states and beyond. So it has a wide reach. And when you're published in there, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, that's very cool. So the thing coming up soonest is PhotoGenesis, the end of September, and people can still sign up, right?
Oh, absolutely. We'll take registration right up until the day of the event.
Okay, so can you explain how the workshops will go and what the different workshops are? Because I know, Texas School is one instructor and it's very intensive. And then Summerfest was neat because it was, several different classes. So how's PhotoGenesis going to go?
Yeah, it'll have the same feel as Summerfest in that there will be a number of speakers throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And one registration gets you into any of the programs. You can move from one speaker to the other, and if one speaker's talking about something that you're more interested in, you can go that direction, and if you're there with friends, they can go the other direction, and you can kind of move around if you want. So everything is all one price, with the exception of the excursions on Friday. On Friday morning, we have 3 photographers who are doing some remote photography in some off locations in and around San Marcos. So there'll be a program on photographing seniors, a program on photographing, might sound strange, but weaponry and grunge photography, so a lot of military-style photographs and things like that. And then we have Jim Kozak, who's doing a workshop on photographing dancers. So they'll be in and around some locations in San Marcos, and those will feature models with the opportunity for people to photograph the models under the direction of the coaches that are leading each of those excursions. So those are the only things that are an extra cost, and you sign up for one because there's no way to attend all 3 of them. But those take place on Friday. But after the excursions are over, then all of the rest of the programming is available to as you choose for one registration price.
That's a very unique way to get into maybe a side of photography that you've never looked at before. Other than the excursions, will there be any models to work with at the other events, or are they lecture only?
Some of them will have some models. We'll be doing a shootout at our event on Saturday night where we'll have some shooting bays and some studio setups, and folks will have a chance to photograph the models in those shooting bays. There'll also be a live band, so it's something of a party that's going on. But nothing more exciting than to photograph models with live music in the background.
Yeah.
So that'll be a great time. That's always a very popular event at our PhotoGenesis event, is the shootout and shooting bays on Saturday night.
Well, it sounds like a ton of fun and definitely something people should think about. If you'll stick with us, we're going to take a short break and then have a few more questions for you when we get back.
All right. Thanks so much.
You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed.
I know you know this already, but most of the shows on Lone Star Community Radio are available in podcast format. If you want to keep up with the latest shows, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lone Star Community Radio, and our website at irlonestar.com. You can even follow us on Soundcloud and Twitter to see the latest posts from Lone Star Community Radio. Can't find a show? Then just search for it on irlonestar.com in the search bar to the top right of every page. Or just contact us on irlonestar.com/contact us with your questions, demands, sponsorships, anything. Lone Star Community Radio is your Montgomery County community radio station.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Chelsea, and I've been talking to Steve Kozak, president of TPPA. He's telling us all about PhotoGenesis and the TPPA. So, Steve, you were telling us about the shootout and the models that'll be there to work with and everything going on. But, I've also been hearing about this People's Choice. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, for photographers, probably, well, for professional photographers, the highlight of the year, I would say, is our photographic competition. And there's a whole system in place that leads you from one competition that builds to the next competition that ultimately builds to our international photographic competition that's held every year in Atlanta in August. And so those are very formal photographic competitions that are judged by qualified judges. They've gone through a lot of training. They've gone through a lot of effort to become judges, and they really do judge the photographs at a very high degree of reflection and critique and scrutiny. And so, it's a tough competition to be a part of. It's not for the faint of heart sometimes, and it's not for those who wear their emotions on their sleeves, because sometimes judging can be brutal. And so many times when those images go on display, you hear people walking around saying, "Well, why did that score what it did? How did that get here?" And all these kinds of comments. But what this is going to be is this is a competition just for the people who are attending PhotoGenesis. So you become the judge. And so no judges sitting in a dark room scrutinizing the photograph. If you walk up to a photograph and you feel like, "Oh gosh, I love that picture," vote for it. And that's how that competition's going to work. They'll all be on display, and it'll be kind of a majority rule. We'll choose the top 10 images, and they'll all receive a trophy and earn the recognition of the People's Choice Award for the photographic competition at PhotoGenesis. So we did this last year, and it was a hit. We had so many entries and so much positive feedback from it. And so it's a little bit fun, and it's a little bit scary, and a little bit entertaining, and just a whole lot of great photographs to look at.
Right. And maybe if you've never entered print competition before, this will be like the first step in the right direction.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a great first step.
Yeah.
It'd be a great first step. You can enter 2 images, and the rules are all on the website, which is tppa.org/photogenesis, or just go to tppa.org and click on the link to PhotoGenesis. But the rules are on the website, and just click on People's Choice, and you can see how to prepare your images and get them ready. It's going to be a fun thing.
Absolutely. And you're right. Just being able to walk around and look at everybody's great images and maybe get some inspiration, and it sounds like a blast.
Right. Yeah, those images will be on display in the trade show. So not only is PhotoGenesis packed with a lot of high-powered, world-class speakers and photographers, we'll have a trade show there, so you get a chance to meet some of the vendors in the industry and the photo labs and camera suppliers and camera stores and lens manufacturers. So the trade show will be an active hub of activity on Saturday and Sunday. And then there will also be our walk-up workshops, and this is where our members are really doing very casual presentations, nothing formal, but that'll take place in the trade show. Those walk-up workshops were extremely popular last year. We had so much feedback from the walk-up workshops because it was just kind of a chance to just for a photographer to speak to 8 or 9 or 10 people in a group and say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is working for me, and maybe you should try it." So very intimate and very interactive, and there's a whole bunch of those that are going on at one time. So you can move from station to station and hear the different presentations and go see the vendors and go vote on your favorite photograph.
What are the requirements if somebody wants to lead a little walk-up workshop? What should they do?
Basically, there's an application that you can fill out on the PhotoGenesis website that says, "I would like to do a walk-up workshop," and you just kind of mention what your topic is and what your thoughts are, and then our convention chairman, Trey Homan, will get back with you and schedule you a time and put you to work. So I would say not any real qualifications other than to have something to say and something to share and be able to do that for about 15 or 20 minutes
Right.
at a time. So it's really a good chance for those who want to learn to speak, to get their feet wet and see what that's all about. I'm always getting requests from people who want to speak at our events and certainly teach at Texas School, which again is the is the Mount Everest
Oh,
for
yeah.
an instructor.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
But yeah, I mean, a lot of folks want to do it. It's not an easy task to go in and teach 5 days worth of material and to be prepared for that. So honestly, Texas School gets the top instructors across the country and beyond. There will be 36 classes, almost 50 instructors at Texas School, and they are the cream of the crop. It doesn't get any better. But PhotoGenesis has some pretty amazing instructors as well. Lindsay Adler's world-renowned as a fashion photographer out of New York, and to get her to come to PhotoGenesis is a big coup. We're very excited to have her. Amanda Holloway is coming in and talking about seniors, so she's a great senior portrait photographer. We're really excited about having her as well. And then several others. Allison Carlino is going to do some off-camera flash. Brian Welsh is coming in from Seattle, I believe, to talk about using the 12 elements of print competition in our everyday work to improve our photographs. And we've got Cliff Ranson, our own Cliff Ranson, who is a world-class concert photographer, and he's photographed all the great performers who do concerts, and actually that's his program on Saturday night. He's going to be teaching you how to photograph live performances, and then when he's done, we're going to move right into our live music, so folks will have a chance to not only go to the shooting base, but also to photograph the band.
Right, put it into practice.
What they just learned from Cliff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes to show a lot of people think about TPPA in the events, and they kind of sometimes think, well, that's a portrait photographer's world, but it's really not, because you're talking about fashion photography and concerts and all these different things that isn't just for portraits.
Yeah, oh my gosh, such a big misconception, because, we just we're filling some of our slots for Summerfest, and we've invited George Lepp, who is a world-class landscape and wildlife photographer. We're hoping that he will accept our invitation and come in and speak. We're asking back Doug and Laura Bennett from Colorado, who are just unbelievable landscape photographers. Oh my gosh, just highly decorated landscape photographers, and much of their work sold in galleries. So we cover everything from landscape to boudoir to pets to portraits and weddings. And yeah, I mean, it is kind of a misconception. We've also got photographers who are doing fine art work. Doc List is doing a wonderful program on his fine art project. So we're not just for portrait and wedding photographers, and it's too bad that maybe we have that reputation, but they would be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. If they assume that. And, I got to say, I definitely appreciate that Summerfest has moved to Conroe. That was very convenient for me. And even though I am a portrait photographer, I actually went to the commercial photography workshop there, which I enjoyed very much. And, just... Yeah,
that was Chris Duncan.
Yeah, and I liked just, seeing something out of my everyday. I loved that. So you're right. There's definitely a lot of different options other than portraits.
Well, and I find that, if you can light a portrait well, then you can do just about anything in photography, from products to landscapes. And, so many folks just don't make the connection that light is light, and whether it's studio light that you've purchased or it's natural light that you're using in the environment, you still have to control it. You still have to understand it. You still have to capture it. And whether you're learning from a portrait photographer or a pet photographer, there's something to learn about photography no matter what the topic.
Right. And, there may come a time where you're doing a portrait, but you still have to incorporate, lighting everything in the room correctly, even objects. So, that's part of the reason I wanted to go, was just, make sure you can get everything in the room lit correctly.
Right.
But during the break, sorry.
Go ahead.
During the break, I was talking to you about how much I enjoyed the fact that y'all moved to Summerfest to Conroe, and you were just giving a little bit of history about that, and I just thought it was kind of neat. And you want to share that with everybody?
Sure. Yeah, that summer event has been going on at Texas PPA for a long, long time, and we've spent the past 30, maybe 40 years in Kerrville, which is a fantastic place for an event. But it's a little bit remote, and we kind of noticed that the membership that was attending that event wasn't really reflective of our membership as a whole. We're a pretty young, vibrant community of photographers, where maybe back in the day we were maybe a bunch of older guys and gals who've been doing it a long time, but that's not today's photographer. Today's photographer, has probably been in business less than 3 years, and certainly very family oriented. Back in my day, the photographer, was probably a man, not being sexist, but it's how it was.
Right.
There were very few women in photography 30 years ago. And now, we're really an industry that's dominated by women. So the event in Kerrville wasn't particularly family friendly. It wasn't particularly inviting to our membership base. And the decision to move it was not easy. It took a couple of years for the officers to come to realize that a change was really necessary. And so when we moved to Conroe our first year, our attendance was up, I think, times 4.
Wow.
So we grew that event, what is that, 400%, just by moving it and kind of rebranding it into a family-friendly event. And how much more family-friendly can it be when there's a water park and a lake? People bring their boats and their jet skis, and the kids swim, and we have a couple of picnics out on the grounds, so we're providing a couple of evening meals. And so lots and lots of stuff for the families to do while the photographer and the families go into workshops and seminars. And it's also not so heavily scheduled that mom or dad are completely isolated from the family at the time.
Right.
So we all come together in the evenings as a family and as a TPPA family, and have plenty of time for the families to enjoy each other. Many of our members come a couple days early and stay a couple days later just to enjoy the facilities, and that's a great place to spend a week.
Oh, yeah. La Toretta is fantastic. And
it is.
I actually took my daughter to the little kids fest that y'all had going on, and she loved that. She loved it. And
that was Jenny Eisenhower, who our officer said, we just need to have some organized activities for the kids because we want the kids to want to come back year after year. And so she goes beyond the call of duty to put together that program for the kids to go play games and work on crafts. And they actually, even the young kids, get involved in a photographic competition of their own. They take photographs during the event and then submit their best ones, and so they all get to earn their certificates and their awards at the awards night, just like the adults get to.
Yeah.
And so we're training them early.
Exactly.
At Summerfest, get them ready.
My daughter walked around, and at the end of the day, I tried to look through all her pictures, and she ended up taking mostly videos. And I could kind of hear them talking about, like, different deals of kind of how you want to take pictures and different guidelines. And I asked my daughter, I was like, oh, so what do they teach you about taking pictures? She's like, I don't know, but, she thought everything was pretty, but I don't know. But she liked it. Yeah. She really did. And I just thought it was great. Well, we're going to take one more little break, and then when we get back, I've got just a couple more questions to ask you before I let you go.
All right.
Stay with us on Aperture and Shutter Speed.
Lone Star Community Radio is FM. That's right. Set your radio dials and your button presets to Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, coming in June of 2016. To celebrate this edition and the addition of video versions of our talk and music shows on YouTube, cable TV, and Our City TV, we are offering special sponsorships rates, which include free audio spots that are played throughout our broadcast. Interested? Check out our sponsor rates for shows just like the one you're listening to online at irlonestar.com/sponsor, or call the station at 936-647-5747. Reaching the people of Montgomery County with Montgomery County's community radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I am Chelsea Williams, here talking to Steve Kozak, the president of TPPA. We've been talking about PhotoGenesis and Summerfest, and I think one thing a lot of people want to know is, how do we get a scholarship to Texas school? I know maybe at imaging y'all might have maybe some ways for us to do that, huh? I saw last.
Well, there's several things. Okay, let's start with imaging. Imaging USA is PPA's crown jewel event of the year, and Texans are very fortunate to have that event in San Antonio this year.
Absolutely.
Actually, not this year, in 2017. It's going to be January the 7th through the 12th at the Convention Center area in San Antonio. And there's some pre-convention programs on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm actually teaching a program with Doug Box on Thursday and Friday, and then the convention starts on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. There's also some hands-on shooting and things on Saturday. But there's a huge trade show associated with Imaging USA, and many vendors, probably all of the top vendors from all over the world for photographers will be at Imaging USA. And, of course, our own Texas PPA and Texas School will have a booth at Imaging USA. And we have a drawing for a scholarship at that booth. So if you're interested in getting a scholarship, attend Imaging USA and sign up for a scholarship. But we also have some other opportunities. Many of the labs will provide scholarships. A lot of the local guilds, so where PPA is our national association and Texas is our state association, Texas is also made up of smaller regional associations that we call guilds. So Houston will have a guild. East Texas actually has a brand new guild starting in the Nacogdoches, Lufkin area, but there's also an East Texas guild in College Station, Bryan College Station. But we've got guilds in San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and out in Lubbock. And so many of these guilds will also provide scholarships for Texas School. There's a number of partial scholarships available, but we also have a working scholarship. If you've attended Texas School in the past and you're willing to serve the school by volunteering for the week as a wrangler, that's a working scholarship that Texas School offers, and that would be for someone who's willing to help out the instructor, get all the equipment in the class, handle duties that it takes to put on the school. There's a lot of work involved in being a wrangler, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of reward, and we have, over 60 wranglers every year that really help make that school run as smoothly and efficiently as it does. But the cost to attend Texas School as a TPPA member is only $550. That's a week's worth of education. That's your evening meals. That's your parties. It's all the drinks that you can have in the evening events. It's like, oh my gosh, how cheap is that? I think we did the math. It worked out to about $10 an hour to attend Texas School. So there's no better value in education than attending that week-long class. You do spend that week with one instructor, as we said earlier, and so it's pretty intensive. But with 36 instructors, you can certainly find a class that you're interested in. Those instructors will be announced very, very soon. I expect probably early September the website will be fully populated with our new instructors and all the information that you need. But right now, you could go to texasschool.org and just take a look at what we did last year, and it'll be very similar with some of the same instructors returning and a whole slew of new ones coming back as well. So,
well, I'm glad some of them are
on the website.
Returning, because it's very difficult to get to everybody you want to take. And most people have a list of, this year I want to take this person, but I still want to take this person, and it's very hard to get into everybody you want.
And the thing is, some of those classes sell out in less than a second.
Yeah.
Because we hold registration on January 3rd at 11 p.m., and people are sitting at their computers. They've got 4 browsers open on 3 different computers, and they've got their registration forms waiting till the clock says 11 p.m. because you can't register early or they throw it out. But 11 p.m. sharp, when that go button appears, then you'll have 60, 70 people registering for one class that can only take 24 people in it. So you turn in your first, second, and third choice, and everybody almost always gets one of those choices. And believe me, your third choice is just as good as your first choice sometimes. But many of those classes sell out in just nanoseconds, as Don likes to say. And it's true. We've crashed our server for several years in a row, and we've got some of those issues fixed. But when you've got 900 people trying to register at the same time,
But I think that's evidence of how great the school is, because everybody wants to get in. Everybody's fighting for their spot.
Absolutely.
And I've watched the Wranglers every year, and they really do work very, very hard in helping bring this school together. But at the same time, I think it helps the people that wrangle get very involved, and they seem to make more connections with other photographers and get a lot out of it. So I think anybody who is interested in doing that would be fantastic.
Well, the thing is, you can tell that program works because the Wranglers return year after year. People volunteer year after year. And, I had my same Wrangler for almost 10 years until he moved to Illinois. And then I had another set of Wranglers who were with me for 5 or 6 years. So they come and they stay, and, that's a testament to their spirit of volunteerism, because they're the first ones up. They're up for those 7 o'clock meetings when classes don't start till 8:30. They're there late, putting together the party and stuffing packets and getting the materials ready for the next day. They are working hard,
right.
But they certainly do get a chance to connect with so many people in the school.
And it is very hard to get up early after those parties, so.
Oh my gosh. We have some legendary parties. I'm not going to deny that. A lot of the parties have just rumors around them. So some people come to Texas school and they're a little bit afraid of the parties, but trust me, it's all in good, stupid fun, and we have a blast, and we're safe and we're smart, but we do have a good time. If you're going to have that kind of intense education, you got to have a chance to blow off some steam, and that's what those evening events are for. Yeah, between the school and the parties, I'm not sure I saw the sun for, 7 days last week or last year. I don't think there is a sun during Texas school. But it was absolutely fantastic. One more time, do you want to go over the websites for people to look at? Well, is it all on the TPPA website for PhotoGenesis, Texas School, things like that? The easiest place to start is simply tppa.org. That's T as in Texas Professional Photographers Association, so tppa.org. And you can find the links to all of the other events right from that website. All the other websites have their own branded websites, but they're all linked to tppa.org. And do you want to share your personal website so everybody can check out your work? Absolutely. My photographic website is stevekozak.com, which is last name is Kozak, stevekozak.com. And then my photographic educational website is called photoproworkshops.com. And that's where I've got DVDs and live classes and CDs and all sorts of educational materials, including my certification study guide for those who want to become a certified professional photographer. And I've got a marketing book. So I've been doing it a long time. And I guess one of the great opportunities I've had is to be able to share my success with other photographers. I've been teaching at Texas School for 16 years and at Imaging USA for 13, I believe. And just the opportunity to share and watch other photographers grow and become successful has been a really high honor. And certainly serving on the board of directors of PPA and being president of TPPA were just glimmers of a dream in my young career. Well, I just want to thank you so much. As the executive director. I just want to thank you so much for taking time out today to talk to us and tell us all about TPPA. If anybody wants to hear more about
Aperture and Shutter Speed. You can hear it at irlonestar.com. Until next time, our show's every Tuesday at 12. Keep on shooting.
Thanks for checking out this production on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, internet, and TV media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production, produced by the show host and Dick Schisler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Dick Schisler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.